Assalamu alaikum, students. Dear student, I hope so you all are doing good. Okay, student, let's start with our 8-week session. Now, what we have to do and what we have to, you can say, learn from this session. This one is specifically about budgeting, like what are the types of budgeting we have to go through from the, when we are talking about techniques for allocating the resources. Again, last one was about specific techniques, planning techniques for assessing the environment. Now, these are the techniques for allocating the resources, that how we will allocate the resources, different type of resources. Now, these are the different, what we can say techniques are, these are the different tactics through which we can say we can allocate the different resources. First of all, we know very well that the most important resource is about our financial resource. So whenever we are talking about financial resource, so first one is about budgeting. That means we have different types of budgets. What's the budgeting concept and how we can improve or implement that budgeting techniques. Now, next one is about scheduling. That is about how we can go for टाइम स्केजुलिंग कैसे करते हैं, ओवरऑल रिसोर्स को कैसे स्केड्यूल किया जाता है, कब किस वक्त कौन सा रिसोर्स एलोकेट किया जाता है. फॉर दैट रीजन वी हैव गैंट चार्ट, वी हैव लोड चार्ट्स एंड वी हैव PERT network analysis. So Gantt chart is again, it's very important. Load chart, how we can go for. So in सारे हम different topics को we have to discuss. Break even analysis क्या होता है जी, contemporary planning techniques कौन कौन सी हैं, project management क्या है, and what will be the project management process. So one by one we have to go through from all these things. So these are the techniques already that we are discussing. Like once an organization goals have been established, so first of all, you have to develop your goal. Then it's important to determine the goals are going to be accomplished. So when you are going to develop the goals, at the same time, you have to know that you have to accomplish your goal at the same time. Complete bhi hona chahiye with proper set of plans. Before managers can organize and lead as goals are implemented, they must have resources which are the assets of the organization, financial, physical, human, and intangible. So whatever we are doing, we have different types of resources for the achievement of goal. We have different like financial, physical, and human assets, जिसमें से हमारे पास कुछ tangible हैं, कुछ intangible होते हैं. Definitely we know very well. And we have discussed in the first chapter what are the resources we have, and by utilizing the resources in a proper way, we can achieve our goals. That is the definition of management as well. So how can manager allocate these resources effectively and efficiently? आपके जो manager है वो इसको effectively और efficiently कैसे allocate करता है और अपने goal को timely कैसे achieve करता है. For that reason, we are studying this chapter. We are going through from techniques for allocating the resources. Although manager can choose from a number of techniques for allocating the resources, many of which are covered in courses on accounting, finance, and operation management. So the number of things that we have studied in different techniques को जो हम पढ़ते हैं उसमें accounting, finance, operation management में discuss करते रहते हैं. But generally what we have to discuss over here, that is about budgeting, scheduling, break-even analysis, sorry, and linear programming. So these are the techniques that we have to discuss right now. So let's start with budgeting. Now, what's the concept of budgeting? A budgeting is a numerical plan for allocating the resources to specific activities. So it's a numerical plan for allocating the resources. Resources, what are the resources? It's about financial resources to specific activities. कि अच्छा इस department में इतना रिसोर्स एलोकेट करना है, इस वाले में इतना करना है, इस वाले को इतना पैसा देना है. It's all about your financial budget. So this is what we have to do. That means numerically, that means financially we have to manage this. Manager typically prepare budget for revenue. Most of the time manager को revenue के लिए, expenses के लिए, capital expenditures के लिए you have to, and different equipments or expenses के लिए you have to make your budget कि ओवरऑल हमारे पास कितना रेवेन्यू है, कितनी इनकम जनरेट हो रही है, उसमें से हमारे कितने अखराजात हो रहे हैं, उसमें से कितनी ऐसे एक्सपेंडिचर्स हैं जो स्पेसिफिकली लिंक विद द इन्वेस्टमेंट कैपिटल के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से, एंड व्हाट आर द डिफरेंट इक्विपमेंट्स आर एसेट्स वी हैव टू परचेज इन द organization or for the business. So for that reason, we have to manage our overall budgeting, or we have to manage our balance sheet, जिसको हम कहते हैं, जो आप लोग familiar हैं, अभी go through हो रहे हैं. It's not unusual though for budgeting to be used for improving time, space, and use of material resources. So what you have to do is you have to improve your time, space, and use of material resources and all that. In budgeting, you have to manage all these things. It's very important on time. Whenever it is required, you have to give that resource. So most of us have had some experiences as limited as it might be with budget. We probably learned at any an early age that unless we allocated our revenue carefully, our weekly allowance was spent on expenses before the week was half over. So most of the time, what we are used to, whatever the revenue we have allocated that revenue for those what are the different expenses for that week or for that month. So accordingly, we have to manage it. And if revenue is below the expenditure and if it is more than the expenditure, so that will be converted into your profit and loss category. So there are four main types of budget. That can be the cash budget, profit budget, revenue budget, and expense budget. These are the four major types of budgeting whenever we are talking about budgeting. So these types of budget substitute non-dollar number for dollar amount. Sometimes it depends, not about specifically about some specific type of currency. So time as person hours, capacity utilization, our unit of production can be budgeted for daily, weekly, or monthly activities. So what you have to do is you have to go for daily, monthly, and weekly activities, mein, whatever the capital, whatever the you can say investment you have and whatever the money you have, and accordingly on hourly basis, whatever you are giving to the individuals and whatever the resources you are purchasing and whatever the expenditures. So everything you have to manage, and that can be in the form of cash, profit budget, revenue, and expenditures budget or expenses budget. So यहाँ पे भी उसकी डिटेल थोड़ी सी दी हुई है, यहाँ से go through हो जाए हम slides से, and then we will discuss over here. That's why monetary budgets are a useful tool for allocating the resources and guiding the work in such diverse department as manufacturing and information system are at various level in the organization. So generally what we have to do is ये वही सारी चीजें कि how we have to allocate overall our financial resource to the different departments as per their manufacturing and information system and different types of production department, whatever the department, as per their requirement, we have to allocate that resource to them. Budget are one planning technique that most managers, regardless of organizational level, everyone has to use it and everyone has to implement it. And it forces the financial discipline and structure as well. So cash budget kya hai ji? Forecast cash on hand and how much will be needed. So generally we have to forecast about the cash. It's in cash, you are dealing with the cash. कितना हमें कैश चाहिए और कितना कैश हमने एक्सपेंसेस में यूटिलाइज करना है. रेवेन्यू बजट में व्हेन वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट, इट्स अबाउट प्रोजेक्ट फ्यूचर सेल्स. ओवरऑल हमारे पास रेवेन्यू क्या है, ओवरऑल इनकम क्या है, और उसकी बेस पे देन वी हैव टू डिसाइड ऑल दीज थिंग्स. Next one is about profit budget. Combine the revenue and expenses budget of the various units to determine each unit profit contribution. अगर revenue ज़्यादा होगा और expenditures कम होंगे तो we are moving toward profit. और अगर हमारे पास revenue कम है और expenditures ज़्यादा हो रहे हैं तो that means it's about our expense budget. So we have to make the list of primary activities and allocate the dollar amount to each. It's up to you when we are talking about. It's about again specification of currency is not required. That can be about definitely rupees. When you are talking about international level पे जाएंगे तो generally we are dealing with dollars. So variable budget man takes into account you can say cost that will be with the volume. That is you can say again map with the volume. Overall आपका जो volume है, overall जो आपकी sales है, उसके साथ हमारी जो है वो it's linked with it. Variable cost जो होती है, fixed cost जो होती है, that is about assumes fixed level of sales और प्रोडक्शन. यहाँ पे आपकी जो वेरी कर रही होती है, यहाँ पे फिक्स लेवल ऑफ सेल्स और प्रोडक्शन होती है. वेरिएबल बजट में आपकी रन टाइम पे इट विल बी चेंज एज पर द requirement. जबकि आपकी जो फिक्स बजट में स्पेसिफिकली फॉर दैट स्पेसिफिक टाइम. दिस इज द इंक्रीमेंटल बजट. लाइक पहले इस टाइम आपका इतना था, फिर इतना हो गया, और विद इन टाइम इंक्रीमेंट करते जाते हैं आप डिफरेंट चीजों में. जैसे इंक्रीमेंट सैलरी में होता है हर साल, तो डेफिनेटली वो इंक्रीमेंटल बजट आपका टोटल यू हैव टू ऐड ऑल दीज थिंग्स. दिस वन इज द एग्जांपल ऑफ प्रोडक्शन बजट, कि अच्छा इतनी सेल्स है और पिछले साल इतनी थी, अभी हम इतनी कर रहे हैं, इस यूनिट की इतनी है, इस प्रोडक्ट की रिक्वायरमेंट इतनी है, इसलिए हमने उसको इतना प्रोडक्ट को वो करना है, प्रोड्यूस करना है, तो देन वी हैव टू गो फॉर इट. स्पेसिफिक फार्मूला की तरफ देयर इज नो नीड ऑफ कि आप उसको जाएं, बट दिस इज हाउ वी कैन मैनेज आवर प्रोडक्शन बजट. एंड सेल्स बजट डेफिनेटली ओवरऑल सेल्स के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से वट एवर वी आर डूइंग, सेल्स यूनिट कितने हैं, टोटल ग्रॉस सेल्स कितनी है, एंड सेल्स डिस्काउंट क्या है जो उसमें से माइनस करेंगे, and what will be the net sales we have then. So again, this is how we can manage the sales budget. So how we can improve the budgeting. So this is all about, by the way, we have two types of approaches in budgeting. जो जनरली मैं आपको क्लास में भी डिस्कस कर लेंगे हम इन डिटेल. इट्स अबाउट टॉप डाउन अप्रोच एंड बॉटम अप अप्रोच. टॉप डाउन अप्रोच होती है जो आपकी टॉप लेवल मैनेजमेंट है, वो एलोकेट करती है एज पर देयर वट एवर डिसीजंस एंड रिक्वायरमेंट. जैसे हमें मेजर जो फाइनेंसेस चाहिए होते हैं, दैट मस्ट बी allocated by the top level management. And bottom up approach, that means first you have to get the what we can say requisition, or you have to get the requirement from the lower and middle level management, and that will be given to the again top level management. Top level management usko approve karta hai, and then they will give it to the again middle and lower level management. Again, that has been allocated by the top level management, but it must be with the consent of and with the requirement of the lower level management. So top down approach, and this is known as bottom up approach. These are the two types of approaches, that is top down and bottom up approach. So how we can improve the budgeting, collaborate and communicate with the, what we can say properly, we have to communicate it and collaborate it, so through which we can improve the budgeting. Be flexible whenever you are allocating the resources, that means financial resources, जिसको हम allocation of financial resources को ही हम budgeting कहते हैं. Goals should drive the budget. Budget should not determine the goals. That definitely, first we have to know about the goal, कि हमारा गोल क्या है, और उस गोल के accordingly then we have to go for the कि हमारे पास budget क्या होगा. So you have to first you have to know what are the goals, and then on the basis of goals then you have to allocate the budget as well. Coordinate the budgeting throughout the organization. It's very important, whatever the requirement throughout the organization, you have to coordinate it. Use budgeting planning software when appropriate. Then you have to use the budgeting or planning software wherever you need. It's one of the good way. Remember that budgets are tools. It's not the way, it's a tool through which you can improve overall your financial activities. Remember that profit result from the smart management, and we can get the maximum profit from the smart management, not because you budgeted for them. So that can be through your smart, you can say steps, that is about effective and efficient management. So this one is about overall budgeting techniques and budgeting concept. Next one is about scheduling that we will study in the next. And in scheduling, we have Gantt chart, flow chart, and we have PERT network analysis as well, and break-even analysis as well. So you have to go through, and in next session, we will discuss about all these set of steps. Thank you, class, for this session.